There's a threshold, a specific point in time where everything shifts, where your thoughts stop being just thoughts and become commands that reality has to obey. Most people never reach this threshold. They think about what they want for a few seconds, get distracted, think about it again later, get pulled away again, and wonder why nothing ever manifests. But there's a scientific reason for this, a measurable point where your brain waves synchronize, where your intention becomes coherent enough to affect the field of energy around you, where possibility collapses into certainty. That point is 17 seconds, just 17 seconds of pure, uninterrupted focus. And when you cross that threshold, the quantum field has no choice but to respond. This isn't theory. This isn't spiritual wishful thinking. This is how consciousness actually interacts with reality at the quantum level. And once you understand it, once you experience it even once, you'll never see your thoughts the same way again. Because you'll realize something most people never do. You're not observing reality. You're creating it. Every moment, every thought, every focus. And when you learn to hold that focus for just 17 seconds, you become unstoppable. Let me tell you why your desires haven't manifested yet. It's not because you're doing something wrong. It's not because the universe isn't listening. It's not because you're not worthy or ready or meant to have what you want. It's simpler than that. You're not holding the thought long enough. Think about how you typically think about what you want. You imagine it for a few seconds. Then your phone buzzes, or you remember something you need to do, or a worry pops up, or you start wondering if it's really possible, and your focus breaks. Then later you think about it again, for another few seconds, until something else pulls your attention away. And this pattern repeats dozens of times a day. Brief moments of focus, constantly interrupted, never reaching the threshold where something actually shifts. Your intention is like trying to boil water, but only leaving the heat on for a few seconds at a time. You turn it on, the water starts warming, then you turn it off, turn it on again, it warms a bit more, then off again. The water never boils because it never reaches the critical temperature where the change happens. Your thoughts work the same way. There's a critical point, a threshold, where focused intention becomes powerful enough to actually affect reality. And that threshold is around 17 seconds of unbroken focus. Before 17 seconds, your thought is just a thought. It's a ripple in your consciousness, but it's not strong enough to create a wave in the field of energy around you. It doesn't have enough coherence, enough power, enough momentum to shift anything. But when you hold that thought, that vision, that intention for 17 full seconds without breaking focus, something changes at a fundamental level. Your brain waves synchronize, your heart rhythm becomes coherent, and your consciousness begins to broadcast a signal strong enough to reorganize the energy around you. This is the difference between people who manifest what they want and people who don't. Not talent, not luck, not worthiness, just the ability to hold focus for 17 uninterrupted seconds. Let's get into what's really happening at the quantum level when you hold your focus for 17 seconds, because understanding this will change everything about how you approach your desires. In the first few seconds of thinking about something, your thought creates a weak signal. It's there, but it's scattered. Your brain is still processing other information. Your attention is still divided. Your energy is still fragmented. But somewhere around the 10 to 15 second mark, if you haven't broken focus, something starts to happen. Your brain waves begin to synchronize. Different parts of your brain start working together in coherence instead of firing randomly. This creates what scientists call a coherent wave pattern. Instead of your thoughts being like individual drops of water, they start to merge into a wave. And waves have power that individual drops don't have. By 17 seconds of sustained focus, you've crossed into a different state entirely. Your brain is now producing a clear, strong signal. Your heart rhythm has aligned with your intention, and your entire nervous system is broadcasting one unified message into the field of energy that surrounds you. This is when the quantum field has to respond, because at this point, you're not just thinking anymore. You're creating. You're not just hoping or wishing or wanting. You're commanding. You're telling reality what to become, and you're doing it with enough power that reality has no choice but to listen. Think of it like this. When you speak quietly, only people close to you can hear. When you speak normally, people in the same room can hear. But when you speak with full force, focused and clear, your voice carries much further. Your intention works the same way. A scattered thought that lasts 3 seconds is a whisper. The field barely registers it, but a focused intention held for 17 seconds is a clear, powerful statement that resonates through the entire field of possibilities around you. And here's the key. The field doesn't distinguish between what's real and what you're intensely focused on. When your focus is coherent and sustained, the field treats your intention as if it's already real. And when the field treats something as real, it begins to organize physical reality to match. Now let's talk about what pure focus actually means. Because this is where most people get it wrong. They think they're focusing, but they're actually just thinking with a lot of mental noise in the background. Pure focus means one thing only. No wondering if it'll work. No questioning how it'll happen. No doubting whether you deserve it. No trying to figure out the details. Just the pure experience of having what you want, held clearly in your awareness for 17 seconds. This is harder than it sounds. Try it right now. Think of something you want. Really see it, feel it, experience it in your mind. And try to hold that experience for 17 full seconds, without any other thought interrupting. You'll probably notice your mind trying to jump to other things, trying to analyze, trying to doubt, trying to plan. This is normal. Your mind has been trained to scatter its attention, to jump from thought to thought, to never stay with one thing for very long. But when you train yourself to hold pure focus, when you can sustain that clear vision for 17 seconds without breaking, you develop a power that most people never access. Because here's what happens in pure focus. You're not in the past regretting or remembering. You're not in the future worrying or planning. You're in a state where the thing you want exists right now, in this moment, and you're experiencing it fully. This present moment experiencing is what creates the strongest signal, because the quantum field only exists in the now. Past and future are mental constructs. Only the present moment is real. And when you bring your full awareness into the present moment while holding the experience of what you want, you create a collision between possibility and reality that forces a shift. Think of it like taking a photograph. If the camera moves during the exposure, the image is blurred. But if you hold the camera perfectly still, the image is crystal clear. Your intention works the same way. Hold it still, hold it clear, hold it for 17 seconds, and the universe captures a perfect image of what you want and begins to develop it into physical form. You might be wondering, why 17 seconds specifically? Why not 10 or 30 or 60? The answer comes from how your brain and nervous system work. There's a timing mechanism in your neurology that operates on roughly 17-second cycles. When you sustain attention on something for about 17 seconds, you complete a full neurological cycle. This means all the different parts of your brain that need to work together to create a coherent state have had enough time to synchronize. Your conscious mind, your subconscious patterns, your emotional state, your body's energy, they all have time to align around the same intention. Before 17 seconds, parts of your system are still catching up. Your conscious mind might be focused, but your subconscious is still running old programs. Your intention might be clear, but your emotional state hasn't fully matched it yet. Your thought might be strong, but your body hasn't felt it yet. But by 17 seconds, if you've held true focus, everything aligns. Mind, emotion, body, energy, all broadcasting the same signal, all creating the same reality. And when all parts of you are saying the same thing to the quantum field, the field has no resistance. It simply mirrors back what you're broadcasting. This is why brief thoughts don't manifest. You think about something for 3 seconds, and maybe your mind is on board, but your emotions, your body, your energy, they haven't caught up. The signal is weak and mixed. The field doesn't know what you're actually asking for, because you're broadcasting multiple conflicting signals at once. But 17 seconds gives you enough time to get everything aligned, to feel it in your body, to let the emotion rise, to let the vision clarify, to let your entire system resonate with one pure frequency. And that's when manifestation becomes inevitable. So how do you actually practice this? How do you train yourself to hold 17 seconds of pure focus when your mind has been programmed to scatter attention every few seconds? Start simple. Don't try to manifest your biggest desire right away. Start with something smaller, something you can easily visualize and feel, something that doesn't trigger a lot of doubt or resistance. Sit somewhere quiet where you won't be interrupted. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths to settle your mind and body. Then bring to mind what you want to focus on. But here's the key. Don't just think about it. Experience it. See it as clearly as you can. Hear the sounds that would be there. Feel the feelings you would feel. Make it as real as possible in your awareness, and then hold it there. When your mind tries to wander, gently bring it back. When doubt tries to creep in, let it go and return to the experience. When you start planning or analyzing, release that and come back to the pure feeling of having it now. Count to 17 in your head slowly. Or better yet, set a timer for 17 seconds so you don't have to count. Just hold that experience as clearly and purely as you can for those 17 seconds. At first, this will be challenging. Your mind will resist. It will feel uncomfortable to hold one thought for that long without jumping to something else. This is normal. You're retraining neural pathways that have been running on scattered attention for years. But stick with it. Because even if you only manage 10 seconds of pure focus at first, that's 10 more seconds than you were doing before. And as you practice, you'll get better. You'll be able to hold it for longer. You'll be able to make it more vivid. You'll be able to feel it more deeply. And when you finally manage a full 17 seconds of completely pure, unbroken focus, you'll feel the shift. Something will change in your body. A tingling, a warmth, a sense of certainty. That's the signal that you've crossed the threshold. That's the moment the quantum field locked onto your intention and began to respond. Once you've done this, once you've held pure focus for 17 seconds, something interesting happens. You don't need to keep thinking about it constantly. You don't need to visualize for hours every day. You don't need to obsess over it or try to force it to happen. Because you've already sent the command. You've already created the blueprint. You've already set the energy in motion. Now your job is to let it unfold. This is the part most people mess up. They do the 17 seconds. They feel the shift. And then they immediately start wondering when it'll show up. They start watching for it. They start doubting if it worked. They start trying to make it happen through force. And all of that undoes what they just created. Because now they're broadcasting doubt, impatience, lack. And the field responds to that instead. The secret is to do your 17 seconds. Feel the certainty that comes from crossing that threshold. And then let it go. Trust that it's already done. Trust that the field is reorganizing to match your intention. Trust that reality is shifting even if you can't see it yet. And then go about your day from the feeling of already having it, not waiting for it, not hoping for it, but knowing it's already yours, just waiting to materialize in physical form. This is the difference between creating and controlling. Creating is setting the intention and letting it unfold. Controlling is trying to force every detail into place. One works with the quantum field, the other works against it. When you let go after your 17 seconds, you're telling the field, I trust you to bring this about in the perfect way and the perfect timing. And the field responds to that trust by moving heaven and earth to deliver. If you want to master this, make it a daily practice. Not because you need to keep remanifesting the same thing, but because each time you do it, you strengthen your ability to hold pure focus. You train your mind to sustain attention. You teach your nervous system to maintain coherence. Every morning before you start your day, take 17 seconds. Focus on how you want to feel today. Focus on the reality you're creating. Focus on the highest version of yourself and what life looks like when you're living from that place. Hold it for 17 seconds. Pure, clear, unbroken. Feel it fully. Then let it go and move into your day, knowing that you've just set the energetic template for everything that follows. And at night, before you sleep, do it again. Review your day from the perspective of the reality you're creating. See it as already done. Feel the satisfaction of living in alignment with your highest vision. Hold it for 17 seconds. Then release it into the field as you drift off to sleep. This daily practice, just 34 seconds total, will create more change in your life than hours of scattered thinking and hoping and wishing ever could. Because you're not just thinking anymore, you're commanding, you're creating, you're telling reality what to become with such clarity and power that it has no choice but to obey. Here's what most people don't realize. You're already doing this. You're already creating your reality with focused attention. The problem is you're doing it unconsciously. You're holding focus on your problems, your worries, your limitations, your doubts, and you're doing it for much longer than 17 seconds. When you worry about money, you can worry for minutes or hours without breaking focus. When you replay an argument in your mind, you can do it over and over with intense focus. When you imagine worst-case scenarios, you give them vivid detail and strong emotion. You're already a master at holding 17 seconds of focus. You're just using that power to create what you don't want instead of what you do want. This realization is both sobering and empowering. Sobering because you realize you've been using this power against yourself. Empowering because you realize you already have the ability. You just need to redirect it. You don't need to learn how to focus. You need to learn what to focus on. And you need to choose, consciously and deliberately, to give your purest attention to the reality you want to create instead of the reality you're trying to escape. This is the shift that changes everything. From unconscious creation to conscious creation. From victim to creator. From someone life happens to, into someone who happens to life. And it all starts with 17 seconds. 17 seconds of pure focus on what you want instead of what you fear. 17 seconds of holding the vision of your highest reality, instead of replaying your lowest moments. Just 17 seconds. But those 17 seconds practiced consistently, with full presence and pure intention, will reshape your entire life. Because when you focus with that level of clarity and power, the quantum field has no choice. It must respond, it must reorganize, it must deliver. That's not belief, that's not hope, that's physics. That's how consciousness interacts with reality at the fundamental level. You are more powerful than you've been taught to believe. Your attention is more creative than you've been told. Your focus, when sustained and pure, is an unstoppable force that bends reality itself. So stop scattering your power. Stop breaking your focus every few seconds. Stop giving your attention to what you don't want. Instead, choose. Choose what you want to create. Hold it in your awareness with complete clarity. Feel it with full emotion. Experience it as if it's already real. And sustain that for 17 seconds. Just 17 seconds of pure, focused, conscious creation. That's all it takes. The quantum field has no choice but to respond. And when it does, you'll realize you were never powerless. You were never at the mercy of circumstances. You were always the creator, always the one with the power, always the one deciding what becomes real. You just needed to hold your focus long enough for the field to hear you. 17 seconds. That's the threshold. Cross it, and everything changes.